A very emotional first day of testimony in Alex Murdaugh's murder trial as the jury heard the full 911 tapes and watched gruesome body camera footage from the night of the killings. WSAV's Andrew Davis was in the courtroom. Andrew is joining us live tonight from the Colleton County Courthouse with our continuing coverage. Andrew?
It was a day of firsts out here, Tina. The first full day of testimony and the first people on scene the night that Maggie and Paul Murdaugh were killed were both called to the stand. And jurors heard that first call from Alex Murdaugh the night of the murders as he said what happened to his family.
Okay, is he breathing at all? No, nobody.
And as they played in court, Alex himself got emotional hearing his wife and his voice tell dispatchers that his wife and son were shot badly. Prosecutors also played body camera footage from the first deputy on scene that night. The sergeant described Alex Murdaugh's demeanor, the fact he was upset, but he didn't cry, the gruesome scene he came on, and the 300 blackout shotgun shells involved in the killings. Now, the defense countered with questions about the investigation process, why deputies may have been walking too close to the bodies and disturbing important evidentiary areas. And the Colleton County Fire Chief, who was the first paramedic on scene, said he knew that Maggie and Paul were dead by the time he got on that scene. A warning for everyone. He did it in very graphic detail that may be tough for you to hear.
He was laying down with, you can see there's substantial damage to his head with a lot of blood around his head and what appeared to be his brain down there around his ankles. She also had severe injuries to her head. You can also see the congealed blood around the bottom where her face is, and she had a hole in her head to where you could actually see inside of her head cavity.
Now, Colleton County Major Jason Chapman, a 26-year veteran homicide officer, took the stand late this afternoon. He talked about the integrity of the crime scene was of the utmost importance to his department. He also answered questions about Alex, saying he checked Maggie and Paul's bodies for pulses before he called authorities, but he had no blood on him, and about Alex's demeanor during the investigation that night.
He was emotional, distress on his face. I didn't see him cry. Not everyone cries. I don't have an issue with that. The breathing slowed and he began to watch us work more closely, sometimes out the corner of his eye. And after we moved away from that area with the tire impressions, the demeanor change returned back to upset.
Now, we've gotten up close and look inside that courtroom. Brett Buffington's here, though. It's outside, which is very interesting that we're surprised by what we're not seeing.
You know, you talk about this small town of about 5,600 people here in Walterboro. They've really prepared to have a mass crowd for this. There's fencing outside the courthouse. There's extra security here. And really, it's just the journalists out front. We really haven't seen this influx that they were expecting of crime enthusiasts, people who've been interested in following this trial to be here in the courtroom. They have up to 100 seats available in that courtroom. The courtroom about half full, you saw today. Yeah. But interestingly enough, the crowd we did see here today, take a look at this video, was here for a wedding. This is actually inside the media center where they are hosting journalists from across the country working here covering this trial. There's a live feed of the courthouse, of the courtroom, of the trial in that media center. They had to move all the media up front into the front of this wildlife center, which is this makeshift media center, so they could host a wedding in the back. Uniquely enough, here in Walterboro, they hosted a wedding and the country's biggest double murder trial that's happening right now in the same town, across the street from each other. Yeah. That was the crowd. Not a lot of people here on the streets, not like they expected. They do say the marketing director for the town here, the communications director, he does expect maybe that people will show up for closing arguments. You know, you do talk about the crowd that follows cases like this. Ease the working class crowd. They're probably at work instead of sitting here closely monitoring this in the courtroom, instead watching on their devices and on WSAV.com where the trial is streaming.
Well, and if you'd like to stream it, it starts again tomorrow morning at 9. Prosecutors will be back with their testimony. In Walterboro, for Brett Buffington, I'm Andrew Davis. Back to you.
Thanks to the two of you. WSAV is on your side with complete coverage of the Murdaugh case online. From daily courtroom coverage to prior stories and background information, you will find it all at WSAV.com/Murdaugh.